Alright guys, welcome back to the mandatory GG Ignition Series Cup, and D-Man looks so different. How you doing, HYPERX?
Good, yeah, well, I was going to make a very inappropriate joke there, but I know he's still in the channel, so I'll avoid it altogether. But no, great opening match there. Actually, for me, I mean, the Giants actually looking like one to keep an eye on throughout this. They look very, very well rehearsed, and I mean, other than the scoreline, there was actually a pretty exciting start to the event, to be honest.
Yeah, first rounds are always brutal, but that actually wasn't a bad matchup. And if you guys are playing along at home, you can see we'll be jumping on the purple Cobras up against StartedFromCS in just a moment's time once everything is ready. But before we get there, before we start discussing who these teams are and why you should be excited for it, I want to remind you guys to head over to Twitter, check out Mandatory GG. The name of the channel, you know what it is. Check out the competition going on. There's some good little goodies to get your hands on, or head over to the site itself, mandatory.gg, and all the info will be on there anyway. So just a quick little shout out before we can talk about these two teams here, because we kind of split the knowledge on this one pretty well, right? So you've got a good PUBG background, I've got a bit of CS in there. So let's start on the purple Cobras. Take me through who these guys are, because Split's going to be the map. We'll get into that too, but who should we be looking out for between these two?
I mean, nail on the head. This is a team very close to my heart. Good friend of mine, VZ, a very well-known name throughout PUBG. But again, a couple of other names in here that other people might recognize as well. Hugstar, we've got Alex JJ, who's obviously he's gained a bit of profile from some of the other events. I know you mentioned earlier it was with On Screen or something in the Twitch Invitational, if I'm not mistaken. But overall, an exciting, I guess, up and coming. I say that, but they have been around since like the start of beta. They've been kind of slugging away, and I guess building some momentum recently. A couple of really good results. Second place actually this week, and I can't remember the name of the event now. Actually, I shouldn't have even said that, but slowly building momentum, I will say. Couple of roster changes as well. But yeah, excited to see how they come out. 13-7 in their first game today. So got themselves out of the, I guess, round of 128, which is always the first hurdle to get over.
It's a brutal one, isn't it? It's a nervous one because you don't know who you're up against sometimes. It's a bit hard to pin down. Good to see Alex JJ coming back in. I liked watching him play before. He's got a good personality to him, obviously hopping over from Fortnite, if I'm not mistaken, too. So the guy's certainly got a bit of a reputation for himself, but StartedFromCS it has its household names. Now, I think most people know the core three, you know, your Existence, your Happy, your Maniac. They're pretty big names in the Counter-Strike scene. So seeing them when they first came across to Valorant, I was like, okay, are they here to really play, or are they doing we'll try something new and play a little bit here and there? But they've kind of committed and they look pretty solid, honestly. But looking at Split, obviously it's best of ones all the way through. Split's pretty rough for a couple of puggy teams, right? If you've got a standard 5, you roll with a lot, you get a lot of kind of set pieces, you get that synergy, but Split can be a bit of a cruel beast to play on, right?
Yeah, it can. And my main concern, I think, I mean, looking at it, if you look at the pedigree of StartedFromCS, Split is a map that can be very heavily influenced by that kind of taking separate 1v1s, just getting an opening pick, working off the first blood and executing on that. That's kind of a concern, I guess, if you're a Purple Cobras fan, because I generally think they're going to be better prepared, but they just might not be able to keep up. I mean, VZ said to me before this one started, Split best of one is rough, especially depending on what side you start on. So it's definitely a consideration to make. But I mean, I'm hoping that the Purple Cobras can come back with some really good set plays, have a really deep playbook, and really kind of flex out on those executes.
That's the thing I look for. Like, even if you lose in a best of one, it is what it is. You move on, you take it in your stride. But I want to see a good look from the Purple Cobras. I want to see they've got everything kind of working in the right direction, some nice set pieces coming out. And for StartedFromCS, I need to see a higher bar, right? Like, if you want to live up to those reputations, some of the results they've been garnering early on, and a couple of the names they've taken some wins from, they should win this. I think that's the kind of way the bias would lean, technically would be towards StartedFromCS, but you never know. Best of ones, it could be anyone's sort of game. And as you said, side start is a big element. Where do you sit on this attack and defense discussion on this map?
I mean, we still talk about the changes to Split, right? And in terms of balancing, yes, it's a lot more viable now if you're attacking. That B split now, we see it time and time again. It doesn't necessarily, the win condition doesn't result in first blood, but it used to just be an all-out kind of slaughter in mid, and if you come out on top, you execute onto the B side. So I guess there's a bit more of an element now around coordination when you're doing those splits, but I still think this is one that you've got to argue is defensive-sided.
We'll give it that for now. I want to look at those compositions. No Viper as of yet, but we're straight into this. So no messing around. Hugster over on the attacking side with the purple Cobra boys. On the defensive side is StartedFromCS, and it looked like an all-in lean towards A, but no commitment off the back. They're kind of peeling away through sewers, and then maybe eyeing up mid here, trying to draw those rotations potentially.
Yeah, got the spy cam over there lurking over towards A lobby, but Hugstar now going to show a little bit of presence towards Mail, sends the boom bot up. He's not going to find anything just yet, but they're not going to force the issue. They're coming back through sewers now. I guess maybe heard a little bit of a rotation away from A Heaven, but maybe this is just showing a little bit of presence, trying to bait out a rotation here.
They're getting a bit of utility out, but not much. The one credit I'll give to StartedFromCS so far is they're keeping a little bit of reserve. I'm not seeing too much utility used early on. Looking at it at the moment, they seem like the rotations have been drawn away. This is they've done what they wanted here for Purple Cobras. Whatever they were planning, this was meant to be it. Maniac has to slow this down. That's a beautiful blind, and Maniac has at least bought time for these rotations here.
Yeah, he's actually going to shroud and step back behind sight as well, and that might catch VZ off guard. There you go. You will find him down in hell there, and Hugstar left in the sky. Smoke's just trying to find something, but this is just a numbers advantage right now for StartedFromCS. Spike is down in front. Maniac will find a third on the round now, and the fourth up in heaven. That's a clean pistol round for StartedFromCS, and again, not really faltering, not taking the bait. They didn't draw out a player away from A Heaven. They just held the line and just waited for the execute to come in.
Maniac is so good. Just unfazed under pressure. He got 4 kills that round.
I mean, the confidence there to shroud and step back onto site. Like, no, I'm taking this fight. I'm taking this fight. Didn't peel away, waited for an extra teammate or anything. I love that.
Maniac is like most people. It's weird these days. People know him from doing like desk work in Counter-Strike, but this guy, he is a fragger as well, and he has got such a good mindset. He's got a really good mentality towards the game. Interesting purchase coming in as well. It looked like plenty of SMGs coming out. I do want to double check that. The UI can be a bit funky. It looks like a 3-2 split, trying to crunch through towards heaven maybe on these pistols. And you're just looking for it's pacey.
Yeah.
If they can maybe get a gun away, if they can do a bit of damage, it's not bad.
Spike cam goes in. That's going to get blocked off by the sky smoke, but Flashpoint comes through and VZ's going to charge straight through towards ropes. They're actually going to trade out happy. They're going to get an SMG to play with, but there is still one player up in heaven here. Here you go, trade will come through finally. So 3-for-2 trade right now. Purple Cobras, both members, and the Spike up in A Heaven. This slow rotation coming out from CS now. Again, I mean, they've got them kind of boxed in now. It's like, where do you go from here?
And this is where you're gonna have that experience from existence.
Yeah.
You don't go and fight in a 3v2. You hold your angles and you play patient. That's exactly what Purple Cobras would want. Be able to isolate one player and try and capitalize on it, bring it to a 2v2. Not allowed to happen. That's what you can expect, that level of... Exactly. And the amount of teams that don't have that yet, they're like, let's just run in, get those Spectres going, and suddenly we see those pistol rounds getting really, really deadly. However, third round swing here, we've got the guns coming back in. So we should have a big round. And honestly, as much as yes, it's 2-0, Purple Cobras have been doing a good bit of damage.
They have, yeah. There's still 3 Spectres on the board, and again, that's again, you quite often see that. Maybe going to see a couple of players get a little bit aggressive on the defensive side, just because they've got a 1600 credit weapon. They want to burn it away, maybe try and get some value out of it. But looking like we're going to have a little bit of a mid take here from the Cobras. Not going to find anything just yet. Dark cover coming down. Going to cut off a lot of sight lines up towards here, but going to commit to the stack right now. They've got a Cypher cam, the Cypher lurk over towards A, and got Hugstar trying to find something through garage. So maybe can look towards a B split if they can find an opening here. But again, Heaven locked off right now by Happy. That
Raze, yeah, Hugstar was trying to make something happen over by those kind of B halls, pushing in on their own. And again, the idea is nice, pushing on the extremities after taking that mid control, but unable to get that individual success. They were going to need to try and capitalize on what they were doing by pressuring those choke points. And now the spike has to be retrieved, and I don't know what their backup fallback plan is, because look at that Cypher. He's going walkabouts. He's taking map control away.
Yeah, him getting into garage here is huge. It gives all the information over to the StartedFromCS. Flashpoint going to come through. Maybe going to see a push through heaven here, but again, 3 players stacked up over towards the B site, and they can peel back here. They can play time, wait for some easy angles when they come and try and drop off rafters, but Execute's going to come through, and garage control is going to become a huge factor here, Lauren. If they can hold on to this, they're going to box them into sight here.
You bang on. Those post plants are going to be so tricky. So let's see how they handle this. That angle from Alex JJ is huge. Good for 2. He's held the line. VZ's going to claim one as well. This is excellent post plants. Just straight up guns out fights. They held their utility back just enough to create some space. And now it's just the Sage. I don't know. I think it's happy. I don't know if they're going to be able to get much out of this. If they can get a gun away, get a Vandal or a Phantom, that's it. Beautifully done, considering so many factors were against the purple Cobras there. They really made that count.
No, really surprised to see that. As I said, usually post plant, if you can keep control of Garage, Heaven, and the defensive spawn, it's so difficult for a team to hold on to B site just because of the way the angles work. There's so many 50-50 angles to clear. And actually, Happy's going to fall to the spike there, so that Phantom he works. So I mean, it's not going to be too much of a disaster for them. Actually, saying that, they could have really done with that weapon there. They got one player down at 2400. So yeah, that's you hate to see that, Lauren.
Bit of a fumble. Yeah. That's a little rough. I'm not. I'd be a little mad. That's a buy now gone. I mean, look, we all know that Happy likes to force buy. All right, we know it. All right.
The other thing is Happy's in mid as well. So having the AR even on kind of an eco round for Started from CS is you want that. You really want that.
Okay, so suddenly this should be 2-2. This should be game back on here now. Obviously, the opponents now know it. They saw that kill at the end. They'll be laughing at that. They'll be pretty chuffed. So a 3-2 split, looking like they want to take that Heaven control again, work through ropes, and it looks like they're going to have success. It's down towards the Brim and potentially the Sage, but they're peeling away from this. Yeah,
and I was going to say, Maniac forced all the way back to Elbow, and again, his teammate stuck up in Heaven, but actually going to find Hugster on the way up, but VZ's managed to make his way through ropes there. The trade comes through. Now they're going to get control of Heaven. Bayers will fall. That just leaves one member of Started from CS left. You can see actually the flash point is going to be perfectly timed here from VZ. There you go. Shuts that one down, a defensive spawn. The Cobras will put their second round on the board here. That's
nice.
Yeah, good stuff so far. Like I said, they look well rehearsed. It's their opportunity to come through here and I mean arguably cause an upset is on a macro level for me, Lauren.
No, you're spot on. I'm super impressed with their approach to this. It looks well versed, it looks well considered, and they've got the firepower to back it up. Now, of course, the economy was in a little bit of a weird spot for a couple of rounds here from Started from CS. This is their first big buy back in, so they're up on the rifles too. So this could be quite a telling round. I want to see if they do something special with it. Yes, a push coming out from the defensive team, but a different look from the attackers. They've switched it up, 3-2 split towards B this time. Same mid control though. Ooh, Happy,
no.
that's a lazy peek, and you're going to get punished all day long. Quick mid take, and now they're going to just quicken the hit. Keep building off the back of this.
Yeah, Orbital Strike's going to come in, cut off some of this push through Heaven. You can see Maniac's made his way all the way through defensive spawn. He's going to back up B site here, but 2 players still trailing back. Means they're going to be able to take a 5v2 if they drop onto site right now. V's going to find the opening. Trade comes through, but Fancy going to find Maniac in response, and now in a 4v2 situation, they're going to get control of B site.
You don't lose these. We don't lose these. Hugster got it under control. He's all good. Existence knows this is save time. Man, this is really good from Purple Cobras. I'm so impressed. I love it. I've got to say, Happy going back in on that peak was a little lazy, and that's not what I expect from him.
I mean, 2 things there. They had a really aggressive push out of A Heaven. Yep. They get the information that nobody's there in A main, so they must know that something is happening elsewhere on the map, right? So for Happy to full swing out with a slow orb in his hand is, I mean, sloppy for want of a better term.
It's surprising.
It gifts them Heaven.
And that's it's the last thing you want. And they're going to chase down this gun if they can. Getting that away is a huge element. You don't need to repeat this, Alex.
Yeah.
You did, didn't you? Could have waited for the backup. Maybe wanted to get it done for himself. And Existence is making it hella costly. That's a... Ooh. You don't love to see that either. They're fine to rebuy. They might have to share a bit of the wealth out eventually. They're okay on the repurchase, but it went the way they didn't want in that regard. No. But the one rifle remains, but the economy is still pretty bad from Started from CS here.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's a big consideration to make though. Cobras did invest into an operator there, and Split's one of those maps you got to say, especially now with the economy changes in Valorant, like momentum is a big thing. And when you talk about momentum, economy is one of the biggest factors in that. So I don't like seeing gifting 3 weapons off the board there, personally.
I'm gonna give, you know what, if they're playing like this, I'm gonna let them feed a little bit.
Doubt.
They can feed a little bit. You get a little bit of a feed moment, and that's fine. I don't mind. Purple Cobras so far, this is awesome to see. This is a much better game than I expected, and that's no discredit to them. I think everyone who's kind of seen the previous results from StartedFromCS, you'd be like, okay, you know, you put the task with them in the way of winning, but so far so good, and in such an impressive fashion. Now, easy going walkabouts. Doesn't overpush. I like that. Keeping in mind they're up against pistols, so you don't want to feed here. You don't want to walk into that stack that could be on any of these sites.
Yeah, but look at this though. Show a little bit of presence. B having HYPERX down, doing his thing in garage. Spikes all the way over in A main. And now VZ's worked his way to heaven. He's got a teammate there to help him out. They've got a 4v2 if they push in here. Sky Smoke going to cover off screen, so execution going to come through. Existence actually going to back up all the way through elbow. And actually, the TP comes in as well, so there's a third teammate here. Maniac gets himself all the way into hell. And they're actually going to combine for a lot of kills there. HYPERX last man up. He's not going to land the spray, and Existence will shut that one down. That was a really nice play there from StartedFromCS.
I'm amazed, but the kind of synergy between Maniac and Existence, kind of playing off each other, getting the bait and switch, almost bringing the attention one way and allowing the one rifle that was kept over to really come into play is massive. So very well played there, and of course that brings some guns right back in the hands to StartedFromCS. Purple Cobras might need to work on those anti-ecos a little bit there. You know, it happens, but again, it's one of those things that gives that window of opportunity you don't want to allow to those old CS boys on the defensive side.
I mean, I hate to be the one to say it now, but this is another kind of all or nothing in terms of, you know, you can throw away the next round if they lose this one. They're down to like 500-600 credits apiece. And again, they've got the operator back on the board, so it's a big investment for Cobras here. A much slower approach, which I like when you're going to invest down and there's a lot on the line for this round. But first blood actually going to be happy getting found in mid again. And that's the Sage falling. He's got his revive up as well, so don't like to see that. Orbital Strike going to get invested in mid, and Doram's actually going to get Fancy back on his feet, so it's a 5v3 now.
They're winning these mid fights, and
Yeah.
mid has been changed around. You can definitely say that. But the one bonus, the one silver lining to StartedFromCS here is they've won the fights on the extremities. So this mid take is all that can happen, and the op is waiting on the other side. In the hands of Cypher, bit of a switch up on position. The Brim's going to take the place. That will be Existence, but maybe more of just a early warning system. 16 HP ain't much to work with. Playing off the back of that smoke, still being in place. Trying to find a cheeky bit of position. He knows they're there. Oh, that's a bit of an error from Fancy. He's going to be found, but a 1-for-1 trade comes out, but it's still possible. Look at Maniac, slowly but surely building behind them, and the longer they take, the more viable this gets. Maniac could do dirty amounts of damage here. Beezy's gone down. It's a 2v1. This could be a problem, and a perfect play from Maniac. Couldn't finish the job, but look at that HP.
Yeah, he's got his heal. He's popped it, so going to get himself back to full health. But Maniac playing the cyber cage perfectly. Doram actually going to find him with the Spectre. He's still got time to get a spike down as well. Bayaz backing up a little bit, and the wall gets popped. But you can see the HP definitely in favor of Bayaz here. But Doram playing well, playing time around this pillar now. And it's SMG versus operator. So this one, I mean, you miss your first shot, you got to say advantage goes straight over to Doram.
Oh, this is nerve-wracking times. Doram's going to just be playing the time. The timing is not on his side. He just checked towards pillar. That little bit of paranoia kicked in his head. He was worried. He was thinking about him. Bayer's playing cool, calm, and collected. Just about gets that. That was down to the wire, though, between these two teams. What a great game. This is a slug match between these two.
I mean, if I'm going to be critical, the wall gets popped from defensive spawn. I'm holding that angle until the end of the round, personally. He should have been ready for that peak.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fair read. Now, look at the damage off the back of it for the Purple Cobras. The money is pretty much drained at this point. Sheriffs, a little bit of utility here and there, so they could do some work. I wonder if HYPERX goes for the quick play up towards heaven.
Well, they've got lots of ultimates as well.
Bop. This could be nice. Bit of pace to it. Oh, it's not going to go well, though, is it? That's not bad. Okay, game back on. Suddenly, a little bit of room to breathe, and it's Maniac who's isolated on the site.
Oh, and actually the flashpoint from VZ catching HYPERX in heaven. There you go, Maniac going to find 2 on the entry. Doram trades out with the Sheriff. And that's now down to a 2v2 situation. Spike making its way towards site, but Akuma coming through heaven here. Flashpoint's going to give his position away, but they're not really ready to hold this angle. You can see just sweeping underneath, but he spots ahead now. Spike gets planted. Now things going to slow down for the post plant. See if they can hold on to this. Does manage to get hold of a weapon, and that's huge for Fancy.
That's massive. Okay. But let's see if Dome can pick up the pieces. Angle's been watched. Well played in the end, but a costly round. Let's call it what it is.
Lots of damage.
Sheriffs. Bit of, they had utility at the ultimate, obviously, from Raze, but they made space there. I was quite surprised they were able to catch out Existence like that. That very quick piece from the Raze is not unknown on the offensive side. We see it quite often, but very well executed.
Yeah, it is. I mean, Hugstar's done great to close the ground that quickly. I think Existence, playing that back into Heaven's fine when you can see how many ultimates are available, and it's only 2 ultimates that get invested from Cobras, so to do that amount of damage, again, it doesn't look terrible for the economy of StartedFromCS, but those rounds add up. If you can do that, on a lost round, still take out 3 weapons off the board, they still got to spend coming back.
Now, we've got to see if that tear continues. If you want a close game, this should be the answer back from the Cobras. They're back on the buy. They should be able to roll it back to what they were doing before. They had so much success. This pacey mid-piece. This time, though, kind of substantially more players heading towards those B-halls, but now Maniac and Happy having none of it. They've shut this down instantly. That aggression on the defensive side over by A has won them a lot of fights, but there's still room. Bayaz this time denies Hugster the play. Little bit of a miscommunication, kind of leaving Happy open there, but still, this should be started from CS's round.
It should be, yeah. Fancy finds himself in a 1v3 situation now. Spike all the way back outside garage in the spawn. And you can see just absolute map control. And it's that thing you were talking about earlier, Lauren. The discipline here, they don't need to push. They've got complete map control here. Wherever you guys, they've still got the spy cam over towards B as well. So Fancy gonna have to pull off a miracle if he wants to put a 4th round on the board for the Cobras. He's gonna make his way towards garage. Maybe try and push through B here. Yeah, I mean, Bayaz actually surprisingly has pulled all the way out towards ropes. They're expecting this push towards A, and it's actually the complete opposite.
Have they misread Spike or something weird? I don't know if they've got misinformation about that or why they put that player there, because now they've realized they took over ropes, like, oh wait, no. So yeah, suddenly they're like, okay, he's over by B. Does have the ultimate to buy time, but can they isolate the players? Again, beautiful block, and just going straight towards the default plant. Maniac, safe pair of hands, I think, is the best way to describe him at the moment.
Yeah, I couldn't actually see Bayaz popping into the spy cam on the minimap there, but it was still planted just outside default, so I'm actually fine with that. He goes roaming, they can look for the kill. It's bigger for them to get the weapon off the board for Cobras and kind of damage the economy, because you can see the damage now. I mean, 300 credits on the board in total for the Cobras here. So again, backs against the wall, this is a huge round for them.
Those 3 rounds look so good for the Cobras.
Yeah.
Bring it back. Show me a bit of that. Bring me that pacey, sort of aggressive team. And well, speaking of that, Hugster, gonna give it another crack. Why not? He caught off Existence last time. Does he get the best of him 2 times in a row? Yes, he does. Beautifully done. And now suddenly there's a man behind enemy lines. And that is a problem for the defensive team, because you've got to pull players away from those ideal positions now.
Yeah, Maniac force all the way onto site. And again, this is confidence. If you want to sit here when you know there's 4 people breathing down on the site, and he's not backed up to screens, he doesn't go to elbow, he's just ready to challenge it. Paranoia going to get sent through the dark cover. He's actually going to peek out here, not find anything initially, and now it's actually a little bit stuck as they push onto site. He actually, Shrouded steps into the incendiary. We'll find Fancy on the way out there, but VZ good for the trade.
He's just buying time. He's done so well at that. He's bought time to allow these players to get over towards the site. And now Happy up on the op, going to try and find another player. Not going to get it. The rest comes in. Instantly put down, but his game's still on. They're going to buy a bit of time, and a missed shot is huge here. Happy still trying to work their way in. Dome does find one, but Bayers with the successful trades should do well enough here. Should be able to get the defuse. And my word, that was a scary, scary round.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it could have gone either way there, but the Rolling Thunder getting invested in, and this is why I love that we don't see enough Breach love in competitive, and this is why I guess Split is one of those exceptions where we can kind of see him utilized really, really well. But the Rolling Thunders, I love watching it in a retake scenario.
I think Breach and Phoenix are a must-have these days. Maybe not obviously at the same time, but one of the two, depending on what maybe works best with you, what works best for the team. You know, as said, Breach, it's tricky sometimes to make it work, but I think the utility you get, the ability you get off the back of it, is just too important now. I don't think you can really shy away from it, but. Into this one, 7-3. It looked so good early game. My hopes were at a sky-high point, and now suddenly not so great. But we'll see if they can handle this hit. Maybe they've had enough of that quick play, but Maniac hasn't read it. He doesn't know who's up and about here on the left side. Doesn't realize in time. Hugster with a nice little switch up very quickly. Ultimate gets popped. Everything's noted.
Yeah, I'm surprised again by the aggression there. He didn't have Existence pushing out with him this time, so for Maniac to get that deep on main is... kind of surprising, I'm not gonna lie, because he gives side control over, but again, it's this post plant hold. They're all boxed in towards site. You got VZ in hell. Happy's about to swing on him, maybe find this one, but actually, yeah, I was gonna say VZ about to come out on top of that, but he actually loses that 1v1, and that's gonna put a lot of pressure onto the Cobras that are left on site here. Just a stinger in hand for Doram, and there you go, 2 quick kills. We'll get them the defuse, and now I'm worried because you talk about split. Starting on the attacking side is definitely rough in a best of 1, but you want to at least put 4 on the round, Lauren. This isn't enough if they want to, I guess, carry any momentum into the second half here.
Yeah, momentum is a big factor, and you got to think about forced errors, unforced errors. One player has a big round, you make a mistake. They're almost there at that point. It's scary when you get towards almost double digits in the half, right? You're starting to not feel so great, and they're very much on the cusp of almost doing that. You're right there. So no player yet breaking double digits for the Purple Cobras, but it hasn't been a one-man show. It was a really nice collective effort when they was working. But now coming to this round, you've got Stingers, you've got Spectres. It's not pretty, but they want that util. They want to try and make a final piece on this half to maybe make a statement, but I'm not sold. I'm not sold yet. I want to see something good come out again.
Bayer's actually going to invest into an operator to hold down B site here, and Hugstar again shown a little bit of presence here. He does have Doam as well, but they just want to pick up the orb, and that's going to be the showstopper available. So we have Orbital Strike and the showstopper available for the Cobras. Happy's actually going to swing all the way off his wall there and lose that 1v1 to VZ, but the trade is good, and Bayaz will find Hugstar elsewhere. So brings it to a 4v3 for Started from CS, but again, just a weird peak from Happy there in heaven.
It's great if it works and it looks brilliant, but yeah, very overzealous. I mean, 8-3, it's a strong half for now, but maybe you got to tighten up a bit here. You're going to get the paranoia suddenly struck amongst the attacking team who are very much pinned into this mid hit. I like the way the Breach player's kind of fallen back a bit, just gets the info, trying to buy time, going to be able to call out to his buddy. Hey, Cypher, careful, mate. Can't actually see heaven right now. Perfect blind coming in. The follow-up's there. This is so well done. Akuma, you're nuts. You're absolutely nuts. Breach is back on the menu, boys.
I mean, a great play from Akuma, but 2 of them were holding the angle where they saw a Breach. 1 should be playing anti-flash there. 2 free kills the first 2, I'm going to say, but great cleanup from Akuma nonetheless. And now, I mean, we can see the distinct lack of weaponry for the Cobras in the final round of their attacking half here. Well, sorry, actually, we switched over already. My mistake. I was looking over at the second monitor. I was like, well, okay, they're going to be pushing with classics and some lights here. That's going to be interesting.
Yeah, 9-3 on the half it looked good initially. Let's say credit where it's due. Purple Cobras did look decent. Now they've got to play, beyond A game. I like the double stack towards B here as a start, though. This could be a nice piece. The attacking side does get the better piece.
Oh, no.
Oh, dear. That could have been a big fumble. Lucky to be alive is the best way to phrase this.
Yeah, they both got caught in the fault line through B lane there. And again, the flashpoint actually stopping the push from VZ. So good counter utility showed there. But Spike has made his way all the way through mid, and they're going to drop into ropes here. There is a trap wire that's going to give the information over to the Cobras as soon as that gets popped. You can see now just bait the rotation out a little bit because 3 players gone over towards A. And there's another trap wire in heaven, so they're going to get the information on the other side of this immediately. And there you go.
Found my wire.
Alex JJ instantly negated in that presence. I love this kind of constructed hit, whether it works or not. This is why I love watching any team that has existence in it. The man just knows how to kind of, manipulate the opponents. But if they continue to hit this B site, they're going into a stack here. So as much as they might have done this well so far, those rotations from the defensive newly appointed team are pretty on point. They're quick on the run. Now a quick dash towards A. They fell out the stack. Back we go. Almost the double pump. But this defensive team is not going to be in good positions for this. One player, the Brim, is okay. Sharing the smoke. A huge error. And the Sheriff, first round Sheriffs, my. And we know what Happy can do on pistols, but he's got to do a little bit more here. And they still haven't cleared out the breach. Finally, Fancy falls. But this is sloppy, and Alex JJ is holding on.
Yeah, just going to be Bayaz left. And actually, he's going to find Alex here. So 2v1 for the Cobras here. Bayer's actually going to try and find the kill to secure site here, but he's got to get the spike down now. I think actually he's just missed the marker there, and actually Cobra's going to pick up the pistol round, and that's a huge round to pick up in the second half here. Again, the clock just getting run down there. I'm not sure if Bay has expected another one on site there, but I felt like they must have known they'd cleared out.
Honestly, I think that little weird exchange in the smoke just threw them the hell off. I mean, honestly, and this is like nice play from the Purple Cobras to kind of step for step catch those rotations. They weren't too far behind, and you saw those like double fakes coming in. Like that wasn't easy to read. That was all over the place, and a straight up eco excluding Happy. It looks like for started from CS, just a ghost upgraded. So gonna try and get that economy building as soon as. They're not in a huge hurry, but you don't want to allow too many rounds to build against you. And honestly, any picks here, any guns recovered is good. And for the Purple Cobras, you just want to keep it clean.
Yeah, I'm excited to see actually Alex supposedly switching things up and playing Cypher this time around. We know how pivotal Cypher can be on split defense. Obviously, it's one that we talk about a lot. As I said, that Hugstar actually going to find one through the dark cover from ropes there, throws the paint shells down mid. Just again, the slows with a raise their backs are up in mid. This is what I love to see from defensive control on split. They're just getting boxed down here. Doam going to pick up a freebie onto Maniac. They're going to force them all the way back through to the attacker spawn now, and they're going to try the garage push again. But as I was saying there, just it's going to be interesting to see Alex obviously playing off role on a map like Split. I don't know how you feel, but Cypher's one of those ones that it can be absolutely deadly in terms of that lurking role on attack, and B site. It's such a huge responsibility to lock down a site solo, and then it can be the weak spot in some teams.
It could be. I want to see more from Alex JJ. I think he's a player that's been interesting to watch. I want to see how well he kind of handles playing on the side. But honestly, I'm just catching up a lot with EU as it stands. And you're right. Cyphers, it's not about the kills necessarily. It's how much time do they buy on rotations?
Yeah.
How much utility can they draw away from the opponents? How well do they basically solo a site? So if all of those things are working, we could have game back on. But knowing how the economy goes, the buy will be better for started from CS here. The Purple Cobras having to deal with the leftover of the starting couple of rounds, which isn't bad, Judge or two, but a fast pace coming from Maniac. It looks like he wants to lead the way. Isolated now from the others. Does he continue? Or does he slow down? He's right in their faces. Doam knows what's up. Gonna have to be cautious here. And they've slowed this mid takedown.
Yeah, I mean, that pressure's actually prevented them from getting a good wall in mid. They have to commit to putting it to block heaven. You can see they're just going to rip it apart immediately. That paint shell nearly splitting started from CS into kind of, well, actually Maniac just out on an island on his own, but didn't get too much damage there. They kind of peel away and wait long enough here, and you can see now they've just got free control here.
Interesting what they do with it.
Yeah.
They're trying to see if they catch any rotations, which they might have caught the breach if he was being sloppy, but he's not. He's kind of fallen back from this. You're going to see the pinch coming in from the Cypher. It looks like it's meant to be this A hit eventually. They've got to get past VZ though, which is the first protocol, and they've done it. But now there was still one more. It was fancy, but then you can see the constructed hit coming in. This is a set piece all day long, and it is so well executed.
Yeah, and they're going to pick up this... Doam with the perfectly timed flank there, you thought, but Maniac, he's playing a different game. Read it like a book. And that, again, it's interesting to see how different teams approach it, but when you got a couple of SMGs on the board there, I don't think backing up and just giving control over is the right play. I mean, going and just trying to find an entry, even if you get a 2-for-1 trade and then, you know, the big rifles sit back and hold on to sight, giving up mid control like that it's just so risky. And you can see how deadly they were with it. They just took complete control of the map. As soon as they had mid, they can walk through mail. They get all the way into ropes. VZ's got a massive job in stopping 3 people coming through heaven. It's, I don't know.
It's tricky. I do credit teams who try and come up with creative ideas as to how to approach having SMG still in play. But it looks like a fast piece again towards heaven, but this time just kind of straight through A. So the choke points are going to be in place, and they pull rotations, but they haven't committed on the attacking side. Their Omen's waiting down towards sewers still. So I want to see where the end game is here for Existence and the boys. They're kind of running the map at the moment.
Yeah, a heavy stack from the Cobras over towards A. You know, you can see Doam going to make his way back towards ropes and through mid. He's actually going to pop a wall down. Maniac's going to be there to pop a hole in it immediately, and they're going to know exactly where he is. So Existence will find that entry now. Hugstar got to do some damage on the way in here, or B site will fall very, very quickly because Alex J is going to have 4 players breathing down him. Not even 4. It's just going to be the 1v1, and he's not going to come out on top of that one. And there you go. B site control will go to Started from CS, and the spike will go down.
There we go. Spike now planted. 3 players try and run it back in. The judge, maybe in Jet's hands, can be pretty nice, but no util to create any sort of gap closers for Hugster here. Over on Ray, he's going to make it a little bit trickier. And I think they know this one might be done. Happy in that lurk towards middle. The classic Happy roll. Always going to catch people unawares. And honestly, the last 2, time to save. Get those guns out of there, boys. Yeah, you need it for those next rounds because we're getting towards match point. And honestly, I've liked this attack inside from Starting from CS. I feel like the Purple Cobras haven't had that all-encompassing answer yet.
No, they haven't. I'm going to be honest, it's come down to losing gunfights. And I mean, Split's one of those maps where if one of your mid players falls, it's so easy to punish the rotations. Again, you know, all the way from the defensive spawn, you can hear those rotations through ropes and mail, so you get that information, but you have to fight your way back into heaven on either side to really have a chance of stopping that execute onto site. And when you think about Alex playing over on B, as soon as they get heaven control, somebody's going to drop and challenge him, and you know somebody's holding the stairs rotation. So where do you back up to? You either give them sight and play retake, or you end up taking a weird 1v1, and I think Cobras are just losing those weird 1v1s.
Yeah. It's a little hard to see because the Cobras, there was such a glimmer of hope on that attacking side. I was like, damn, I love that pace. I love the idea. It's just not being shown through right now. A little bit unfortunate, but we'll see what can happen. 11-5 though being the scoreline, 1 away from getting on to match point, which is obviously 12-1 beyond that to win this matchup. So the Cobras need to kind of do this now. There's not much more time to do it. I'm looking at the extremities. I'm looking at that Cypher because that's where the spike is. And that Cypher must have nerves of steel because they must have heard those steps. Yeah, nicely done from Bayaz there, catching Hugstar on the retreat, but the spike hasn't been recovered. They're just running this round like they have the spike at B.
Yeah, and obviously Alex JJ fell, so again, that information's gone over to Cobras. You can see now Spike is making its way through mid, but Fancy might be able to do something from the wall here. He's got info on the second one, doesn't find it though. Maniac going to come out on top of that 1v1. The Spike now will go over towards B site, leaving VZ as the last hope in this round for the Cobras, but it's looking like they're going to get to match point here.
Maniac's crosshair is beautiful. It's that like pinkish purple. VZ's kind of snaked his way into a bit of a cheeky position, and he might be able to get an individual fight on the site. You can see that Sage instantly running back, and the Omens going around the world. Maniac kind of left the site. This does give that chance. And well, Existence rolls back the ears, says, no fun for you, no trying to clutch it out. We're on 12, it's match point, best of ones, of course. Purple Cobras, those 3 rounds, that look that they brought on the attacking side certainly resonated, but now on the switch, and the run that went off the back for Started from CS, it's fizzled out.
I love the confidence there to punish as well. The spike didn't even go down until the round was over. They're like, run around the map, find this guy, get rid of his weapon, because they have such a tight grip right now in this game that they can afford to just do that. And it's, when a team is playing this confidently, it's so hard to break them out of just like you know, 4 or 5 rounds on the bounce. And there you go. Let's push out with a showstopper. Bayaz, one of you guys are going to trade that. This is getting uncomfortable to watch now.
Yeah, they seem like they've just feel frustrated. I always credit defensive-sided aggression, but you can tell when a team's getting flustered, annoyed. You know, it is what it is. 12-5 is a bit of a commanding scoreline, and obviously that Cypher's been very good at holding on that A push, kind of applying pressure when felt like, and they basically cost 3 players their presence in this round.
Yeah. I mean, when your lurker is picking up 2 kills within the first 15 seconds, it's bad news for the defensive team. You can see now Spike slowly making his way through Garage, and again, we're going to have this B hit.
Alex JJ, let's see what you got. Can you buy the time? Can you cost them anything? Yeah. Dam is there. They've got a good idea where one is. Here comes Breach's impact, and VZ does at least get one, but you can see it instantaneously. Maniac is there to capitalize on the success that Existence shows you how to do, and suddenly that final player who was over by A seems so disconnected. VZ, what can you do for us? Let's do something great here. Try and put on a show. Already the smoke goes up. They line up, and they put him down. A valiant attempt, I think, is the best way to put it, but 13-5 is quite a commanding score.
It was, yeah. I thought for a second we might see I guess signs of life in the second half with a couple of rounds on attack for the Cobras, but that looked rough in the second half. I'm not gonna lie. They got bullied around the map. They literally just got juked and bullied. It felt like.
And again, I think I don't want to take too much away from the Purple Cobras here, because honestly, what those couple of looks we saw from them on the attack wasn't bad. Yeah. It's just, you know, can you depend on that throughout a game? How much deeper can you run that? I want to look at what I think Maniac was my highlight in that game. Existence was doing great. Happy at some moments. Yeah, there was most of them were doing okay. Happy definitely was feeling pretty overconfident sometimes, but yeah, Maniac was definitely on point in that game. Who stood out to you?
Well, do you know what? Actually, just mentioning Maniac there in that last round, I didn't get a chance to talk about it, but the dark cover comes through. He throws a shrouded step down to get behind the whatever you want to call that cupboard or whatever it is on B site, and they've set up. That's a set play for the Rolling Thunder. The Rolling Thunder gets sent through from Garage. He's in a spot where he's literally on site, but he doesn't get stunned by the Rolling Thunder. He runs in, picks up 2 of the freest kills he's probably ever going to see. So I'm actually surprised that that level of kind of set play came out from StartedFromCS, and whilst we didn't see them kind of rely on it, because I don't think they needed to, like that came down to gun skill for me. That game literally came down to gun skill. But it's nice to see that they kind of have that in their playbook, that, you know, we talk about G2 eventually maybe having to change up their play style a little bit. It's nice to see that, you know, we're not just going to talk about CS players, it's just these raw aimers. They're going to win 1v1s and, you know, crack open a site and get the spike down solo. It's good to see.
I think the big thing I really want is people to understand how great someone like Existence can be for a team. Obviously, it doesn't necessarily show on the kill feed or on the scoreboard, but those little ideas that he comes up with, the way they execute them, really, really nice. Whether or not that'll take them through the rest of the tournament, we don't know yet. We'll have to check in again. Best of ones all the way through today. Anyone can make a misstep and fall and fumble. And with that said, we're going to head to a short break, and when we're back, it will be the lovely HYPERX and D-Man continuing things on. I'll be hopping on after that in the end, don't worry. And there'll be more of this brilliant Valorant coming your way. We need to check up on the brackets and see where people are. So we'll do that in the break. You guys stay tuned. We'll be back very shortly.